Alright, so today we're going to kind of show you how to make a modification to your deer decoy. You're going to follow along with us as we make a modification to our own deer decoy. Most of them look pretty good straight out of the box from the market, but we also know that the lesser value decoys are definitely not as realistic as the more expensive ones, say the Dave Smith decoys and things like that. So here's a couple tips and tricks we're going to try to figure out together to make this deer look a little bit more realistic and try to help you have a little more success and to help us have a little more success in the woods as well. One of the things you'll notice is that the ears on this deer, when they're in the pinned back position, really just look like he's a little buck ready to take flight. It looks like little wings out on the side. Not really that pinned back natural look. The other is the straight on appearance. While the decoy is made to be able to store within itself, it has just this dead stare that any deer that's approaching it just looks like it's kind of stupid. So we want to make sure that we can kind of change some of that and try to give it a little more of a natural posture. We're going to use a heat gun today to help melt down some of the plastic and kind of bend it and shape it a little bit. And then we're also going to try to, with a little bit of painting and trying to do a little bit more modifications there to make it look as natural as we can. So let's check it out. Alright, so we've got our heat gun out. One of the first things we're going to do is we're going to take off the antlers of this because there's nothing wrong with those. We'll probably paint them a little bit here in a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and take these off and then give us plenty of room to be able to try to modify this deer. As you can see, the ears here are on backward just because we had it in the pinned position. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set these in the correct position so that way we can adjust it so that they're more of in a bent back nature to try to make it look a little more realistic in the actual direction that a deer's ears are bending. So we have the deer that Owen shot a few years ago that we got on film mounted in an aggressive pose, and looking at that and seeing how the ears are bent back, we want that to kind of be our reference. It's a lot more natural looking, so we're going to do that at this time. Go ahead and start bending these back, see what we can do. Alright, so one of the things that I noticed is that the ears obviously want to collapse with them being hollow, so you have to go really slow if you're going to use the heat gun. You're going to have some unnatural wrinkles in it, which is fine. I don't think that that's going to be terrible. Actually, it gives a little more texture in the depth of the ear as well, but this is a lot better than what it was before, having the splayed out wings looking kind of ears to something that's folded back. I think that you can kind of do wherever you want, and then this we're going to be gluing all these pieces together so that they're just steady and ready to go. We're not as worried about the portability of it being in, like this ear just kind of fell out here, so we're going to have to glue those in. But we're not worried about the portability of everything stuffing inside itself. We have another decoy that can do that still if we need something that portable, but this is more something we're going to carry into the field with us or even store out around our stand somewhere and then get it out when we need it. But I think it's a lot more natural looking already as it is, and now the next thing we want to do is give a little more shape to the head, a little more of a downward position, but kind of keeping the neck up still, not so much down ready to charge, because that's going to be a little more intimidating versus just a little bit more of that curious but yet aggressive posture that deer kind of have when they meet each other during the rut time. So we're going to kind of try to soften this up and bend the head down a little bit, and then also trying to angle the head a little bit so it's not just a straight on, because very rarely do deer just stand straight and look forward like that. They're usually kind of standing at the side. So we're going to do that now and heat that up with a heat gun, see if we can't put a little more natural form to the head of this. So with a little bit of heat gunning, a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, I think we've got this head kind of turned in an angle that looks a little more natural. The ears are bent down a little bit more. Had to change this a little bit. It got a little concave right in here that you can see, just because it's hard to melt so much plastic all at once, but I think that it looks all right. There's a little bit of shading. I tried to heat behind the jawline of the decoy enough so that as the head was pushed down, it didn't look so warped. And I think with a little extra painting and shadowing right through here, it'll turn out just fine. So the next thing is we're going to take it over to Kaylin, and she's going to help paint. She's our little resident artist in the family, and we're going to let her try to put a little more realism on the bridge of the nose and around the ears, things like that, and then put it back together, and hopefully we'll have a much more natural looking decoy than when we started.
I will be starting to paint this head now to make it look more natural.
Alright, so Kaylin and I had a chance to work on painting the head. Thought that it turned out really well. I helped her with a little bit of shading, and now I'm going to finish up the rest of the body also, just to put some extra shadowing on the sides. And Morgan is out here. She's going to help put a little paint on the antlers as well, to kind of take them from just a monochromatic color and turn it into something a little more spicy, right? Something to make it look a little more colored, like antlers would be, and not just so blanched and all one color over here. So Morgan's going to take care of that part, and I'm going to do a little more shading around the body here, and we'll look at the finished product in just a few minutes. Well, we hope this encourages you to take a decoy with a little bit of paint and a heat gun and a few hours of work. You can change your decoy to be a lot more realistic and hopefully a lot more effective in the field. We can't wait to try this out ourselves. If you have any questions about what we did today, or you have any other tips or suggestions, please leave that in the comments. But be sure to like this video if you enjoyed seeing this transformation, and we'd love for you to subscribe, because we have a lot more things coming up this fall on Davis Family Hunts. Thanks for watching today.